To the Overrated Experience Special Edition 2 for the World Cup. We're back with Johnny Charts. Welcome, Johnny. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
So,
Thanks.
as we get into, I sort of cut you off there, but I really didn't matter how you were doing. I just want to get right into bet talk. We're sitting here right now on the first day of knockout stage. We're about, what are we back? 24 minutes away from the start of the Netherlands-US game. So things are, changing up here in the World Cup. Now we're out of the group stage. We're going to get to today's bets, and we're going to talk about in depth about today, which might be late for our listener, but it will be something to look back if we had some good insight. You can tell us if we did or not. But also, we're going to look forward to the other games, the other 7 games beyond the Netherlands-US, and to give you some betting insight to maybe look forward to as the week progresses. But as we stated, this is the Overrated Experience Sports Betting Podcast, special edition for the World Cup, number 2. This podcast is for you square bettors out there, the average bettor, the bettors like us that don't do this for a living, but definitely spend time doing it and get excited about events like the World Cup. It's a big deal, and both of us I think would spend vacation time sitting in a couch with a laptop in hand, looking for some good wagers. Would you agree, Johnny Charts?
Yeah, I do.
He does agree. That's great. So we're going to look back, and before we do, though, we're going to talk about what a degenerate Johnny is here. But we haven't started the World Cup, betting yet. However, that doesn't mean his day hasn't started. So his Saturday, this sounds like a common Saturday, but can you tell us what kind of bets you got going on, and what leagues you're already, and how many bets you got going on?
I probably got about 30 bets riding right now. Saturday morning for me, I love waking up and seeing the English League One games. I feel like that's a league that you can take advantage of. There's a big disparity between the good teams and bad teams. The over-under for the first half is always at 1 for most games, 90% of the time. So if you can find that one game where you have a mismatch a little bit, you probably win that bet. So right now, what do I got riding here?
And we're talking League One England, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
in the English League. I feel like League 2, they don't score enough. The Championship Division is a little bit too defensive as well, but League 1 is where it's at. League 1, I feel like there's tons of goals, and there's a lot of mismatches, which you can take advantage of.
And you got 30 bets on the
Well,
on
they've
the
all
go
cleared right now. I probably lost 29 of them, but
jeez.
I did have a couple round robins, and okay, here we go. Just got some money back.
Oh, right.
But I feel like that's a good league to look at if you're looking at goals and overs.
What about just for anybody who's joined that's kind of new to sports betting? Can you explain like an example of a round robin, how that works?
Well, the problem I have is that there's always 5 or 6 games that I really like. So I try to apply the law of averages. Can I win at least 3 of those 5? So round robin is basically a grouping of those 5 games that you like, and you need to win at least 3 of them to get your money back. You win 4, you double your money. You win 5, you get a good payout. It's a parlay where they're all kind of mixed and matched. So if you can hit 3 out of 5, I think it's a good strategy to take round robins instead of taking each game individually and paying the juice on that.
Awesome. And then also we talked about, it was funny, you're saying, I'm going to move my phone over here because there's going to be alerts going on. I said, keep the phone over here because the sounds you're going to hear are updates on each of the games going on. So what app do you use, or is it the Bet365 app, or where do you get the alerts from?
One amazing thing about Bet365 is that you can set it up that you get whatever alert you want in the game. They have cards, corners, substitutions, penalty shots, penalties missed, goals, anything you can think of. You can get an alert for whatever game, every game. So what I do is I actually set it up where I get alerts for everything, for every league and every game. So my phone's constantly dinging.
That's
but
awesome.
It's good when you're tracking a bet, and especially if you have 2 or 3 different bets for the same game, it's a really good way to keep track of what's happening.
And then, but you can set it so you can look at just goals or just cards, but you have everything.
Yeah, it's amazing. What more can you ask for? If you're not watching the game, it's the next best thing.
And I got to look at Bet365 is probably it obviously as close to live as you possibly can. Would you agree with that? Or
I would say the site is, for me, I heard a lot of people complain about the site, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I think what they offer, the lines they offer, the different betting strategies like they offer, it's pretty amazing. I can't complain about this site. I feel like they're number one by far.
Awesome. And I'm gonna have some comments on the comparisons because we're gonna look back at how our betting experience has gone so far. And I know that I'm on FanDuel. You're using Bet365. I got some complaints about some of the things that have gone on in FanDuel, but we'll get to that. So we're going to cycle back to how the tournament is going. We sat here on the eve of the World Cup talking about how we thought things were going to turn out. To be very honest, it's almost the way things have turned out. You could argue that who could see a lot of this coming for a lot of the teams that crashed out in the group stage, some of the trends that we were happening. But just overall, let's take a stance on, first of all, your general thoughts on the World Cup, and maybe dive into some of the bets that paid you out that maybe we didn't talk about in the first podcast. But what are your general thoughts, and what's put money in your pocket?
I just gotta start out by saying I'm not doing too well, to be honest. I feel like I can't remember a tournament where there's been so many upsets. Like, if you just bet on the lowest ranked team in each group, you would have won a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Who could have predicted Japan would finish first in front of Germany, in front of Spain, Morocco finishing first, ahead of Belgium, ahead of Croatia? Like, I feel like that's unpredictable.
Well, we walked through each bet for each group winner, and we didn't give, let's say, Japan a second thought. That wasn't even part of the conversation that there was a shot that they would get ahead of Germany or Spain. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. I put a lot of things on Germany. I thought Germany was going to win the World Cup, to be honest. So I guess I wasn't right about that.
Yeah, we should probably end the podcast now after that prediction. Okay, so, but what are some of the bets that, like, I know you had a great bet for Canada, and I'm just going to get the conversation going. So Alphonso Davies, as an example, I can't remember which game it was. I think it was when he had the goal against Croatia, if I'm not wrong. But what was that bet? You had a shot on goal, and what did that pay out for you?
I took Alphonso Davies to get a shot on target. That paid, I believe it was plus 210. And he did that in the first 2 minutes of the game, so that was a quick win.
Has that been a go-to bet, that kind of bet, where it's been a player with a shot on target?
To be honest, there's value in that. You can find a guy. Like today, I've taken, who did I take at plus 500 to get a shot? Sorry, let me just go over this. I've taken Weston McKennie to get a shot on target at plus 333. He's always a guy around the net. He gets a lot of chances. He's creating. You got Pulisic. It's worth the shot. Plus 333. It's just to get a shot on target. For him just to get a shot, even if it's blocked, it misses the net, goes 50 feet into the crowd, it's minus 125. That's just the attempt. I think
it's important to point out the difference between, because you will see those two different bets. That's a shot versus a shot on target. So for you folks out there to understand the difference, just like Johnny Charts talked about, was there's a difference between the player putting the ball, it actually makes it to the net where the goalkeeper, let's say, is tipping it away or makes the save, where if the goalkeeper wasn't there, it would have gone in, versus the value bet. And what was the value bet there for McKennie?
McKennie to have a shot on target is plus 333.
So that's to get the shot on target, but there was also I think you mentioned the shot.
For him to just attempt the shot is minus 125, which is maybe a little bit juicy, but...
But we're talking about, McKennie loading up and just attempting, whether it's deflected, blocked, he puts it in the 18th row, you get that payoff if that attempt does occur, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I think the United States players have a lot of value for today's game. For whatever reason, Bet365 thinks that the Netherlands are going to destroy the States. I think the States have a lot of fight in them. They completely dominated England, in my opinion. They probably should have won that game. So I think, especially if they're down 1-0 or 2-0 at the end of the game, you're going to see a lot of these guys going forward. One shot on target. It's all you need.
Well, we're going to get to the Netherlands and U.S. in a second. We're going to go back in time, though. We're going to talk about some of these wagers that... well, look at the successes. The shot on goal for Alphonso Davies. When you get paid out 2 minutes into the match, you got to love that, because now you got the funds to move it forward into another wager. Is there any other bets like that? Because I know the difference between you and me is I took more of the same game parlays where things were happening in the game versus players necessarily. Before I let you know how I did, is there any other, whether it be player bets or any other particular bets that you found worked out for you in the group stage?
before I get into this, I just want to say, like, when you take a player, you're really taking a big risk.
Yes.
Because you never know what the coach is thinking. He could take that player off 5 minutes into the game and you lose. There could be an injury. There could be whatever. So you are taking a risk when you take one player to get the total. But I do feel like there's a lot of value for the underdogs. This World Cup has seen a lot of upsets. For whatever reason, there's still... The lines don't reflect that, I don't think. Like the States today... Sorry, let me get this up. They're plus 320 to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that should be more even, to be honest, because I don't know. The Netherlands haven't really dominated, and the States, they haven't lost yet. So that might be worth a play right there. Or even the tie at plus 225.
That makes sense. Well, we'll jump into the Netherlands US. I know you're jumping at the bit to get to the game today, but going back to the group stage. So I know you had some good parlay bets. I know that sorry, not parlay bets, but some good. Oh God, I lost the train of thought. Some good prop bets. You love your prop bets. What about the cart? Like you talked about the throw-in. Like what about the throw-in in the first minute or so? What was that about?
Okay, so you can take a bet. Will there be one throw-in in the first minute? I tend to take that under. I think the first minute of the game, the ball goes back to the defense. They play around with it a little bit. They might send it long. They might not. But 1 minute, 60 seconds. And when that happens, you're hoping for a foul. You're hoping for somebody just to roll on the ground for a little bit and get that easy win. The only game I really got screwed on was the Denmark-France game. The first kick went to the sideline and went out of bounds in the first maybe 2 seconds of the game, and I lost. But every other time, I feel like I'm winning this bet.
Would you say you put it on pretty much every game?
Most games, I look for the games where it's a little bit of a mismatch. You know, one team is going to be just staying back.
Okay.
And the other team is just going to get a feel for the game, like a Brazil type team, you know what I mean? Or Argentina or France. They're going to get the ball, and they're going to pass around their defense a little bit, maybe work in the midfield, and slowly build their way up. And I feel like there's a lot of value. 1 minute is incredibly short amount of time.
So that's a bet that was available and is available to you from Bet365. Not available that I could see on FanDuel. So that's, again, another shout out to Bet365 and catering to the foot. I'm going to use soccer. Let's use football. I'm just going to say football better out there. And that's awesome. So that's a bet you would go to for most matchups, and you find that's a payoff for you. So you have the shots on goal. You have that. What about cards? I know the cards is a big one for you as well.
I love taking card props, but I find that, especially in this World Cup, I'm not seeing the cards coming out. There was one game, the Serbia-Switzerland game, that had 10 cards, but every other game is probably around 3 or 4 cards. There have only been 2 red cards, no direct red cards yet this year. And I don't know, I just feel like the referees are more patient with the players. They're not... Like, there was an actual fight in the Switzerland-Serbia game, and there was no red card. I took that game, so I was a little bit disappointed by that.
So if we shift to the what's not going well, or bets you thought were going to be more of value, I know that the red card, like you just talked about, you thought there'd probably be a 5 or 6 at this point, just like you would see on potentially a Saturday, Sunday in the Premier League. So has that been quote unquote a failure right now? That
yeah, I've been losing more than I've been winning for that prop, especially. If you compare it to the last World Cup in Russia, there were way more red cards, way more yellow cards, way more own goals, way more goals outside the box.
Yep.
It just, I feel like the Russian World Cup, it just had so much more where I was winning every game, and I feel like I've been relying on those bets because I feel like that should start happening soon, but it hasn't at all.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that the red card has... And the only red card we got was because it was a second yellow yesterday in the Cameroon-Brazil game where I can't remember the name of the guy who scored. He took his shirt off and he got the second yellow. The referee came over and actually put his arm around his shoulder congratulating him for the goal and said, "Yeah, here's your...
Goodbye,
yeah, exactly. See you later." So why do you think that's happening? Like, any thoughts?
To be honest, maybe it's a VAR thing. They're just more cautious now. They know that they're going to get caught no matter what they do. I can't explain it. I don't know. Maybe the referees are told not to be quick with the reds to influence the game. I can't explain it. But there have been a few moments where maybe I thought there should have been a red given out, but the ref, for whatever reason, just he's not pulling it out.
Yeah, I know if I go back to some of the things that have been working for me in the group stage, I think I've been even Steven up and down in this tournament. I haven't gotten killed too much, and I've been really staying away from the player props necessarily because, as you stated, there's so many factors. Like, I don't know necessarily the latest injury information that this, a Gundogan, for Germany as an example. I find it peculiar that in game 1 against Japan, he was their goal scorer on the penalty kick, but they're taking him off. And is that because, they've worked out with Man City that he should only go 65 minutes? Like, what don't I know? Why? Because how many times have you shook your head, like, why are you, like, what's the circumstance? What do you know that I don't? Why you're pulling this player off?
Yeah, sometimes the coaches are making decisions you can't explain. Sometimes their lineups. You look at some of their lineups they're choosing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Germany really dropped the ball putting Mueller on. I know, like, you could look back and say he didn't do anything, but, like, would you really rather have Mueller than Kai Havertz, who's in the prime of his career right now? He's really an up-and-coming player. I don't know. I question that decision.
Well, Havertz, he started against Japan. They basically took him out. And then they got desperate at the end there, and he scored 2 goals, didn't he?
Yeah, and I had him to win the golden boot, so that really screwed me. But he came in, he scored 2 goals in 10 minutes. He almost got a hat trick in the last 20 minutes of the game. I wonder if things would have been different if he started against Spain. If maybe they would have won that game and not had to worry so much about this last game. And
that's what we talked about. Like, I mean, if you had a futures bet like the Golden Boot and a coach makes a decision to go a different way, put Mueller in instead of Havertz, that crushes your attempt to try to get go to the payout window. So I know that I used a lot of same game parlays. I found pretty successful. I found the odds, like the juice on the over a goal and a half, was manageable. I mean, minus 240, minus 200 and some change or whatever. And you got to like tag it along with like over 7.5 corners up juice of minus 240 or whatever. Put me closer to a plus bet where I found it was successful. However, I mean, I was on a run of, wow, I'm making money here. And then you would fall into that game where, we have a 0-0 draw. And how many 0-0 draws do we have? Like
I think there's been 5.
5 0-0 draws where that just put a halt to any momentum that I had. And I've only done this a couple times because like during the domestically, many times I'll put a goal that happens in the first half. I'm going to stay away from the first half goal. Like any explosion of goals has been in the second half.
And I think that's one of the problems I'm facing. Like I'm so used to winning these bets, these first half overs, or you know what I mean. Like in the domestically, it seems like it's happening all the time. But for whatever reason, in this World Cup, I feel like the first half has been so defensive.
Yep.
I don't have the stat, but I think there was 19 games or something like that with no goals in the first half. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with these teams. They can't score. No. Guys missing sitters in front of the net.
It's horrible. I'm hit or miss too on the shots on target. Like I've sometimes found the right game. Like,
but it's a fun bet.
It's a fun bet. So we talked about that because you're not. You might be watching the game for goals, etc. But when you're watching for these other bets like the shots on target, there is an excitement to it, and almost like I can never bet the under on a shots on target. I don't know. Do you bet unders and shots on target?
I've done it, but it's one of those things where you just do it and then you walk away for a bit and just check on it every 10 minutes. It's hard to watch a game and hope for no shots. Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
Like going back to the Japan, and that was the first game that stands out to me in the tournament. Japan, Germany, and I know I had Germany shots on target 5. And there was nothing going on other than the Gundogan penalty kick, which got the 1 shot on target. And then suddenly there was like a 30-second window where they got 4 shots on target, which is the exciting part. The rebound, shot, rebound. Like, and you thought that bet was going nowhere, and then bam, it's you're going to the pay window. So that's where I've been very up and down. And like yesterday, as an example, I kind of pissed off at FanDuel because the going into the third. And we'll talk about the amazing betting experience going into match day 3 in these group stages where each of the groups are playing at the same time, knowing what they have on the line, but also following, as the game's progressing, what if they need more goals, maybe they need to hold on. That was so amazing. But the complaint I had against FanDuel is that leading up to 2 o'clock yesterday, the one game that was really important was the Serbia-Switzerland game. and I logged into FanDuel at 150, and that game's not appearing. I don't know why. I don't know what the story was, but that turned me into, as a degenerate, let me force a bet onto the Brazil game, which really screwed me and screwed my momentum through the day. So that's just a piss off. But the betting wise on the, I talked about this on episode 13 of the Overrated Experience yesterday, was the motivation factor going into the third game is definitely a significant part of what wagers you're going to put down. I know for myself, during the Spain-Germany last, that group, that I knew for sure that Spain-Costa Rica, or not Spain-Japan game was going to be over 2.5 because of the motivation. Japan had to go. They had to score. And Spain, is going to put 1 or 2. And then Germany, I put Parlay where the German game was 1-1. I just needed over 1.5. And then the over in the other game. Because of the motivations to really dictate how these games are going to turn out. What kind of bets? Did you change your betting style on Group Day 3? Did you take that into account when you placed wagers in that third matchup?
I did. I took Mexico to get shots on target. I took Mexico shots over, knowing that they needed a win. Mm-hmm. Did the same for Germany. Both teams got more than 20 shots on fired, I guess. But yeah, the motivation changes the way they play. They're forced to do something that maybe they didn't want to do. There's value in that.
Yeah, I put a pretty big bet on Mexico and Saudi Arabia over 2.5 goals. So that Saudi Arabia goal really helped.
And you got that at the very possible second.
Right at the end. And then let's talk about. I also had the over in the South Korea-Portugal game. I only put that on there thinking, when I looked at Portugal's lineup, I was kind of, why are you putting such a? I found pretty much close to their starting lineup, and they already locked down pretty much. Not guaranteed. Did they? Yeah, they had locked down. They had 2 wins, so they had to worry about winning the group, but they pretty much had it in the bag. But it seemed like they were trying to feed Ronaldo more goals versus what's the bigger picture. But that 2-1 game, Son, the pass in extra time, and Uruguay chasing. I won that. I won those both games. Did you find a payout there for the Uruguay, South Korea?
Yeah, I took Uruguay. I took actually a bet boost in that game. Will Suarez get a card? Will he get a shot on target?
Yep.
And will Uruguay win? And it hit that plus 750 for that. But yeah, Bet365, these bet boosts, there's a lot of, I'm not going to say value, but it makes the game interesting when you have that, you need this guy to get a shot, that guy to get a card, and this result. It's just adds a lot of interest to the game.
Has the World Cup brought you to the bet boost? Because the bet boost has been around for a few months now in other sports, but has the World Cup kind of intrigued you to start using the bet boost more often?
Yeah, I didn't notice it before, but I feel like I'm always looking to see what they're offering. I just want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you ever remember a World Cup where there's no clear top and there's no clear bottom, with the exception of maybe Qatar? I feel like all the teams are kind of, maybe some are slightly better, but there's no dominance anymore the way it was 10, 20 years ago.
I found that these programs, and I'm going to call them programs, the way they're building, I think the differences between the top tier and the bottom tier now is you still have your superstars on the big teams, the Messis and the Ronaldos and blah, blah, blah. But the basic depth of, the strategy, the coming into a game, the athleticism, knowing the game, I think the other countries are catching up.
Yeah. It's hard to take a favorite now because every team can compete. Any team can win now, except for maybe Qatar.
Right.
They were total trash. But in Canada, they competed. They didn't get a point, but they at least competed. They probably should have got a point against Belgium.
Right.
But, even Canada, you see they're improving. But I noticed that a lot of the teams, especially the African teams and the African and the Asian teams, they're just, they're hungry. And when they play a team that maybe is a little bit more talented than them, they can compete because they're just hungrier and they don't want to lose.
Well, I think that's important to point out is that you had obviously the World Cup. I can't remember the year. Was in South Korea and Japan. You had the South African World Cup, and those programs probably have had a good 20 years of development, coaching, modern techniques, and things like that. It's almost like when we talk about the UFC, right? Like you talk about mixed martial arts. It's not one guy that knows jiu-jitsu now. It's one guy that's taekwondo, one guy boxes, one guy wrestles. Everybody's a pretty refined skill set across everything. By the way, the USA and Netherlands game just kicked off, so we'll have one eye on that as we're talking. But you're right, like South Korea and Japan, the way they played, even without Mane, like Senegal was pretty deep. Senegal did well. Like, I mean, Senegal did really good. And Ghana wasn't out. I mean, I know they didn't make it out of the group stage, but they were in games. Like, they pushed Portugal.
You know what? My strategy going in, I was going to take all the South American teams, and I was going to fade the African and Asian teams. That strategy backfired big time. I feel like the opposite has happened. You have South Korea advancing, Japan advancing. The African teams, they all got a win, I believe.
Yep.
Every single one of them. Morocco beat Belgium.
Yep.
Tunisia beat France. Who else is there? Cameroon just beat Brazil yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's been a throw-in yet. This.
Okay, I think you got your throw-in. There you go, minute 30.
There. Yeah, it's just that strategy didn't work. I liked Ecuador to advance. They didn't do it. They fell short. Who else did? Uruguay.
Well, let's go back to that because, like, I mean, would you agree that the Asian teams and the African teams tended to press more and not sit back, or at least counterattack?
That's one thing I noticed. When they're counterattacking, they're sending 4, 5, 6 guys. They're not afraid. They're not just parking the bus and hoping for a tie. They're not playing like that.
As we watch across the
yeah,
box.
there might have been a corner there. There's a chance.
What was this? Oh my gosh! Get out for a corner, and no, damn it.
That's a shot on target for Pulisic. If you took him,
I got the U.S. actually over 3. Okay, we're not there yet. We're not there. Let's get back. Okay, now before we jump to the current knockout stage, I wanted to talk about the way the groups played out. The discussion we just had about these other teams being more pressing, and these programs being more. They're not getting blown out. With the exception of Costa Rica in Game 1 against Spain, that I think personally that this is going to change tournament football going forward for the powerhouses. Because I don't get, and I think coaching was a big thing that you talked about, and what the coach's mentality come into the game. I think there's a big wake-up call for the Germanys, the Belgiums, the Uruguays, the Mexicos, and some of these are more heavyweights than others, that how to kind of attack those 3 games coming into a tournament. I found Germany was lackluster, even going up a 1-0 against Japan, and that because they faltered and their guys couldn't hit the target at all, that I felt that they were chasing the rest of the tournament and they didn't give respect to the teams they were playing, and that was their downfall. Uruguay had no goals going into the third matchup, and they didn't really open up. Like, the Nuneses of the world were nowhere to be found. And I think that's a failure of how to approach tournament football. Mexico, I didn't see any offensive capability whatsoever.
That was my pick.
Yeah, right. But they against Saudi Arabia, suddenly they're, the Globetrotters out there, like they're on fire, but they did nothing. So I don't know. Do you see this as a kind of a change maybe in how the bigger teams approach the next Euros or the next World Cup?
Germany especially, I don't know why they can't qualify for the knockout rounds. That's 2 tournaments in a row, 2 World Cups in a row they've been knocked out. And I feel like their group wasn't a difficult one. When you look at it on paper, Spain and Germany, the 2 clear favorites. I don't know what to say about them. They have the talent, that's for sure. I don't know. They have all the pieces to the puzzle, but they can't put it together. It's just a weird thing for them.
It's almost like they were focused just on Spain.
Maybe it's too much pressure at this point. Maybe it's building on them like the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Like every year that goes by, it's just something. It's more pressure.
What do you think right now? Well, what's the coach's name again for Germany? Flick?
Hans Glick or something like that.
What do you think the pressure on him right now is?
I think he should step down.
Yeah.
To be honest, he's the highest paid coach in the World Cup. To not make it out of the group stage is pretty bad.
That's embarrassing.
Especially with the team he had. When I looked at his team, the names on the shirts, there's no reason for them to be to be gone already.
That's huge. What about Uruguay? What were your thoughts on Uruguay? I was very disappointed on, just the boring style until that last 20 minutes.
I think their key players are aging. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're past that point now. Maybe that's they're ready for the new generation. They fell flat too. I just think that their time has come where they need to rebuild now. That's just get rid of Suarez, get rid of Cavani, and get the new guys in there.
And then Belgium, just that's a team that's wasted.
complete implosion
because they have
right there.
their quote unquote golden generation.
Yeah.
That is gone. It's over. Like it's pretty much over. Rodriguez, their coach, stepped down. But of course, like I think before he got thrown out. But what's the story there? Like they showed nothing.
They're probably the most disappointing team at this year's World Cup because they're ranked second in the world.
Yep.
And they only scored 1 goal.
Yep.
And that was a game they maybe should have lost against Canada. They didn't show anything in this tournament. I don't know.
I don't take it as an excuse either of like any sort of because the tournament's obviously mid-season versus summertime. Look at this. So there's a corner. Yeah, point. Yes, corner. Yes. Okay, but I find because up until the World Cup just recently they've been playing like League of Nations. Is that what it's called? Like the League of Nations?
Nations League.
Nations League, right? Oh, there's an update. Is that a good update or a bad update?
It's a wife update.
Oh, it's a wife update.
Yeah, it's
okay.
a wife update.
Okay. But the League of Nations or Nations League, whatever, they're playing together all the time up to the World Cup, right? So it's not like they're not playing with each other and familiar with each other. So I don't have any excuse for any of these teams. There's a corner, and the U.S. has been pretty much dictating. Nobody touched the ball. Nobody touched it. Nobody touched it. And
Speaking of these lesser teams getting good, I feel like the States in 20 years they might be a force.
well, you have the States now that we're going to 4 years from now have the World Cup in Canada, U.S., Mexico, and you know what? 48 teams, right? They're actually expanding how many teams are in the World Cup. That the USA, I think, is on that cusp of being that next powerhouse. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. They outplayed England. You don't say that too often.
No.
They haven't lost a game yet. They should have beat Wales. They did beat. Who'd they beat? They beat Iran. That's right.
They beat Iran.
And they dominated Iran.
Yes. And they
got a chance here. Pulisic's got the ball.
Nothing.
Yeah, State's looking good. They're just a very athletic team. I don't know if they're one of the more skilled teams, but they try hard and they're athletic. They're strong. They're fast. They're big, and they try.
And with the money they have backing them, that they have the top technology, analytics, just everything. It's superior to any other country. Maybe with a few exceptions, but they'll eventually, if not now, be superior in every aspect, maybe off the pitch as well.
You'd think China would be a strong team, like with the pool of people they have to choose from.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Like, 1 billion people, and you would think you would have enough talent for 15 teams. Like, you're right. You're very right. Why in the basketball stage? Why on the soccer stage? Like, are they not more dominant than maybe what we've seen? Good point. That was a random thought. But anyway. All right, so as we transition into the knockout stage, I think it's important to point out one of the bets that for new folks to betting should realize is that there's a bet that asks you which team is going to qualify that is unique or you wouldn't have seen during the group stage. If you select that, like let's use the USA Netherlands for example. If you say the US is going to qualify, that means that even if this game goes to extra time or penalty kicks, you're waiting for that final result if the USA is going to qualify to the next round or not, versus the three-way betting line, the money line. If you let's say I take the USA versus taking a tie or taking Netherlands, even if the USA advances, if they don't advance within that 90 minutes and have a result there, I lose. So I think that's important to notice because I think some people get confused on qualifying versus the 90 minutes, depending on the bet they take. Look at this. Oh!
Memphis Depay.
Oh, man, there's two things I hate in this world.
Wow, that was quick.
I'm going to give the famous quote from Austin Powers. There's two things that I can't tolerate. People intolerant about people's cultures, and the Dutch.
Is that right? You hate the Dutch?
No, that was from Austin Powers.
Oh, is that right?
It's from Austin Powers.
I was going to say your shirt's orange. Your shirt's orange.
No, but Goldmember, like Austin Powers. Austin Powers Faja. Okay, I'm just going off tangent here. But
that was a nice goal.
That was a nice goal. Like really screws my, you know what?
Don't you have the over?
I have the over.
Yeah.
Which is good, but I had the USA qualifying. But
wow.
But this is the bigger bet. What a nice goal.
Yeah.
Who scored that? Memphis Depay puts in the middle. Depay scored?
Yeah. He scored.
Okay. I thought we were talking earlier how he's a bit overrated.
So how many shots on target do we have here?
I think we got 2 shots on target. Already.
Yeah, 2 shots, 3 in total.
What a nice goal. But I love this early goal. The U.S. has to press. They have to press. Now we're live betting. What are you thinking live betting right now?
I don't know. Nothing's.
Okay.
I can't. I do.
I got you
like
stuck
over
because
under
you're
that
doing the
3 right
podcast.
now. Do you think it'll be 4 goals or more in this game?
Oh, I don't know, man. Could be.
tough. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
could be.
because there's desperation at the end. So let's go into this game. So my initial thought for Netherlands US that we were going to have we talked about this earlier, a potential 0-0 draw going into extra time, 1-1, which we got 1 goal already. That's kind of like a stingy lack of opportunities. Seems like it's playing out differently here, but my wagers for this game were the over, and that was more of desperation because it was a plus. I took the USA to qualify, and I also had the USA to have 3 shots on target or more. They currently have 1, and this actually helps me because they're going to be pressing. But what are your thoughts in this game? What did you take in this game?
Yeah, I think we have the same kind of bets. I have a lot of actual player props. I took a lot of the States players to get a shot on target, so that's amazing for me that the Dutch scored so early. I think that goal kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think the Dutch were there's like 1 chance, 1 goal kind of thing. I like what the States are doing this game. They're losing 1-0, but I feel like they're keeping it competitive, even though it's only 10 minutes in. But they've had 2 or 3 chances already.
Are you able to share with us those actual
I'm gonna have to
individual
look at
bets?
it. Okay, let's go through it right here. I'm a volume better. I think that I try to win. I try to take a lot of bets that have a plus. So even if you go 50%, you're still winning money.
Right.
But there's a lot of value in the player props. I feel I took Dumfries to get a shot on target at plus 350.
Okay.
I took him to get a shot period plus 100. I've got total shots on target over 7.5. Got Timothy Weah shot on target plus 175.
Wow. Okay.
I got Musa shot on target plus 500. Let's hope he gets one. And McKennie.
And McKennie, your boy McKennie.
So I just hope that the coach doesn't make too many changes too early. That's
What do we got here?
One.
Oh, USA on the run. I thought it looked offside, by the way, but it's not. But the USA had a chance now. Here come the Dutch. Counter-attack. Look at this pass. The Dutch.
So what are your bets this game? You have the corners over. You have the goals over.
Oh, sorry, I mentioned that. I have over 8.5 corners. We only got 1 right now, and that was at like a minus 130, which I think this is going to be a tight game. These guys are going to. I feel confident in that one. I also had the over, like we talked about. Just it was more of a desperation play because I like the plus money.
So I'm not sure if you got a chance to look at the bracket for the World Cup now. Do you think there's a clear winner there? Do you think? What do you think about the matchups?
Well, that's a good one because who's got the clear path, right? I think France has got a good. Well, it's going to.
I think Argentina.
Yeah.
They always make it hard. I always say they make it hard, and I thought when Messi missed that penalty shot, oh no again, like they're gonna end up second and end up playing France first game. But I really, looking at their bracket, they have a really good chance to make it to the final. I know Brazil is in their bracket, but like you said, Brazil's they haven't really impressed. And Brazil is a team they've played 1 billion times, so they're very familiar with them. I think for Argentina, to avoid a team like France or England or even Portugal or Spain, I feel like that's huge.
Agreed. Like I think because I was looking at you talked about in the first podcast that France was probably the major one you were scared of for Argentina, and I mean I expected. Well, we're going to get into the Argentina game, but we expect them to advance. Brazil's got a funny one with South Korea, right? We're going to get into that.
Like if you look at it, it looks like wow, this is easy for Brazil. They played South Korea first matchup. That's probably a dream matchup for them.
Yeah.
And then they play the winner of Japan-Croatia, which is also kind of, maybe a little bit of a mismatch there.
I find Croatia, okay, we're going to get into it, but Croatia to me is kind of scaring me now that they might be getting into form that they did last World Cup where they made a run. I know that we're talking about an aging team, but the way they handled the group and really got down to business.
I feel the opposite.
You feel the opposite?
I feel the opposite. I'll tell you why. They beat Canada 4-1.
Yes.
Canada was a little bit out of sorts there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like they played the game that they should have played. They were kind of all over the place. They were chasing the win too much, I think. Croatia tied Morocco.
Yeah.
Scoreless game. They couldn't score against Morocco. Croatia tied Belgium in a game they got badly outplayed. Couldn't score a goal there. Are they going to be able to score a goal against a team like Brazil? I think that Croatia's one of those aging teams. I think they're past their prime.
So they're going to run out of gas.
I don't think that they're going to match up well against the better teams.
Okay, fair enough.
Belgium should have won the game. They had 3 clear chances. Lukaku missed
Lukaku.
from 2 feet away. I don't even know how that's possible.
And they were aiming for him to come back in the lineup. They're just a failure, Belgium. So,
Yeah.
anywho, let's move on to Argentina, Australia. That's kind of a matchup. It's kind of intriguing going into the 2 o'clock hour. Argentina, I think we're agreeing that is probably one of the fan favorites to, the Messi's final swan song into the World Cup. We want to see him hold that trophy up. Do we not?
We do. I'm definitely cheering for them. I won't bet on them because that's the kiss of death.
And here, as you're talking, the USA is why did you make that extra pass? That frustrates me.
Yeah.
A lot of these teams are trying to pass their way into the net instead of just making stuff happen.
The one thing you got to remember, they don't know what you bet, Kyle. So
They
can't
should.
do what you
I
want.
think we need to get the call. We need the call down.
Yeah, let
to
them
the
know what
sidelines.
you took so they can do it.
Maybe some hand signals or something. I don't know. Okay, so Australia. Argentina, Australia. There's a bet I like in this one. I'll go first. I'm going to jump in here. Is on FanDuel, the over-under is 2.5 at -124. Now, the way that I see this playing out is something similar to what happened with the Australia-France game. I wouldn't be shocked if like the Australians jumped out to, let's say, a quick lead. Let's say they corner kick, header, a quick goal like they did against France, and then Argentina, which I feel is a little more comfortable offensively right now. Oh, look at that shot in the 5th row because dummy can't.
Daily Blind, your boy.
He's blind. Yes, but I like the over in this game. I like Australia to at least have a spurt where they're actually going to do something out there as far as a goal. But I also like it +200, both teams to score. So if I like Australia to put one on the board, at +200, both teams to score, I find there's value there. And also over-under corners, I think 7.5 is low. It's -250, don't get me wrong. But I mean, to add it to a same-game parlay, which at the time I put this together wasn't available for corners, which should be available closer to kickoff, but I think 7.5 corners is value to add in somewhere there as well. No player props. I'm not looking to go down that road, but I like the over, I like the corners, and I like the good value of 200 +200 for both teams to score. How do you see this playing out, and what kind of? I know you're going to wait till the last minute, but what kind of money are you thinking about dropping in this game?
I just gotta say, Argentina couldn't have asked for a better matchup. I feel like Australia is the perfect team, especially in the first game of the knockout round. If you told them before the tournament started which team would you like to play, I'm sure Australia would have been one of them.
Okay.
I feel like it's a good matchup for Argentina. They control the pace of the game. They've controlled every game they played, even the one they lost against Saudi Arabia. So I don't see Australia getting too many opportunities. I don't think they're quick enough to counter Argentina. They might score off a corner, but I don't see Australia getting that goal that you need. I don't see it today. They've scored in every game up to this point, but they haven't scored more than 1 goal in any of those games. So I just don't think they're talented enough. They might get a goal. Anything can happen. The ball's around, but I just think Australia. The line is at -1.5.
Yeah.
-2 for Argentina, and I think Argentina's going to get the 2-3 goals and it's going to finish 3-0 or maybe 4-0.
So you're saying take the down under on the Australian total?
I just think that Australia, they're going to be pushed back into their zone, and I don't know if they're going to be able to break out to get that goal that you need.
Well, this is why we're doing this, to have kind of a back and forth on a different perspective, then we'll see who it will play out.
But at the same time, Saudi Arabia scored 2 goals against Argentina, so you don't know which Argentina is going to show up.
That's true.
So you might have value. The one bet I do like, actually, is Argentina -4 on the Asian handicap corners.
The Asian
Yes.
I'm going to go to the Asian lines
So
right
basically,
now.
they need to get
Explain
5
this to me.
Okay, Asian handicap corners, basically, the line's at -4. Argentina would have to get 5 or more corners, more than Australia, to win that bet. 4 is a push.
Okay, so say it again, because I just got to the site. So I'm on Asian. I'm on alternative. No, I don't. Is it alternative Asian handicap? No.
I know it's Asian the line's at -4. So
Okay.
basically, Argentina needs to get 5 corners more than Australia to win that bet.
And you see that easily.
I just think the way that Argentina dominated Mexico and dominated Poland, I just don't think Australia is gonna. of course they're going to be in the game and they're going to try and this and that, but I don't think they have the talent to get the ball out of their zone. I think it's a lot of the game is going to be in Australia's half.
Okay, so that's a bet you like. What else? What about cards in this game? Do you see this as a physical, chippy game, or are you going to save that to maybe live betting to see how the game's flowing?
To me, it's a non-bet. It's a no bet for me. I don't. Argentina, they're not getting a lot of cards. I've taken them over 1.5. I think the last 2 games and I've lost.
Okay.
Australia, they play pretty clean soccer, but I'm taking I'm not touching that one. I don't like it either way, especially with the juice on the over.
Okay, and then I'm just looking at the card props here right now to see if anything stands up, like Asian total cards for.
I think it's a good game to take the over, to be honest.
The cards?
No, the actual total. I think, like I said, I think Argentina is going to get a lot of chances, and I think they're going to be able to get 3. I think Martinez scores today.
Okay.
He gets off the Schneid.
Schneid, okay.
Yeah. And I think this is a good game for Messi. He's, well, I got to knock on wood because I'm really jinxing it, but
you are
I think Argentina's going to win easily in this game.
Okay, and just like scanning through some of the other bets here with the cards, corners. Talked about, you like the handicap corners. That Argentina's going to kind of probably be more dominant and be more in possession and probably be the ones that are like, heavily on the corners. Anything on the shots on target, any player shots on target or shots. Argentina scoring a penalty. Hey, look at this. Argentina scoring a penalty is plus 300. Is there value there?
They've gotten 2 penalties already.
Yep.
Messi's missed the 1, so 1 for 2 right now. It's tough to predict penalties. You know what I mean? There's so many calls that could go either way, but I just don't see it. I don't know what to say. It's hard. It's one of the ones that you're just kind of taking a chance. You're kind of just throwing the money up there and hoping it comes back to you. But I don't know. Have Australia conceded a penalty yet? I don't think they have.
No, I don't think so either. But let's just take a pause here and talk about, because it's really, I don't get it in regards to the penalty kicks that we've seen in the World Cup, that we've had characteristically way too many saves on these penalty kicks. I know that from our experience, when you're following Bet365 and you're not even watching the game, you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to see that little net bulge on the app and that the goal happened and the odds are changing. And now I'm doubting, what's going on? Do the goalkeepers have an advantage? Is it like pitching in baseball where the pitchers are gone beyond the hitters? Why are we seeing so many saves? Not misses, we're seeing saves.
Yeah, there's got to be something to it. The goalies are just guessing right. I don't know. Maybe it's the luck thing. But there's been a lot of misses, yeah. I think 5 misses so far.
What, do you understand why players are chipping or almost trying to fool the goalkeeper, and you're hanging on the goalkeeper's guessing wrong? What? Why are we not seeing guys drill balls into the corner?
I think every player should just look at Ronaldo and see what he does. Just take the ball, blast it to one side of the net, and that's it. I don't know what they're doing. They're doing these funny little slow run-ups and then trying to hammer it at the end, and then the ball kind of goes. Even Alphonso Davies, his penalty shot was questionable. You know what I mean? He kind of side-footed it. It was almost like a pass.
Yeah.
I think that's the wrong approach to a penalty shot. I think you just got to hammer it and hit the net. And
tell me how, again, just as we talked about this earlier, when Messi was stopped, how did that make you feel?
I love Messi as a player, but when Argentina has a penalty shot, or PSG has a shot, or Barcelona when he was on Barcelona, when they get a penalty shot, I absolutely hate it, because for whatever reason, Messi can't hit the penalty shot. He's so inconsistent with penalty shots. But he can hit a free kick.
Yeah.
That's
a mile
20 feet
away
behind the penalty spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's such a weird thing. He can get it over the wall into the top corner.
Yep.
But when he needs to take a penalty shot, I think it's a pressure thing. I think with every miss, the pressure builds,
I agree. Okay. Any other thoughts on the Australian-Argentina game? Any other bets that stand out? Or what would your live game strategy be? Is there something you're waiting to happen before you would pull the trigger that would only happen during live in play?
I think if Australia actually get the lead in that game, then I might jump on an Argentina shots on total or cards over, possibly corners over. It's a knockout round now, so these guys are not holding anything back.
Right.
But, this is a tough game because the line is so... Argentina's so heavily favored
one-sided.
for everything.
Yeah.
The juice is on Argentina.
Yep.
You can take a chance with Australia props, but that doesn't feel right either.
I agree. That's it's so heavily one-sided. Like Argentina is a minus 1,800 to qualify, and if you really felt crazy, Australia is a plus 1140 to qualify advance. That's if you got some stones, man, put some money on Australia, and you'd be a hero.
But the way this World Cup is playing out, it might be worth the risk.
It might be worth the risk. You put a few of those on some of these underdogs. One of them pays off. You're going to the pay window, and you're making some money.
Like, I'm sure there's not one person that has their bracket still going in this World Cup. There's no way. It's no way possible that somebody predicted Japan to finish first and Morocco to finish first and all the other things that are happening.
Then if there is somebody who did that, you're a freaking genius. So moving on to Sunday. So the defending World Cup champions, France take on Poland. Poland kind of backdoored their way into like the knockout stage. They weren't really impressive. They didn't win their way in. They just lost 1-0 to kind of, again, like I said, backdoor into it. I'll let you go first. What are your initial thoughts on this matchup? Any bets that stand out to you? What do you think?
I don't give Poland too much of a chance in that game. I don't like their team. I never did. Mm-hmm. I don't think they should have advanced. I think Mexico was the better team, but that first game kind of screwed Mexico up, I guess.
Yes.
But I just think France is just too fast. They're too fast everywhere. They're going to have the ball. They're going to keep the ball. They're going to get a lot of chances. I don't like teams that rely on the one player, and I feel like Poland's like that.
It's funny because I'm using an analogy to how Poland is, because obviously Lewandowski is the guy. Whoa, look at that. The Dutch, they're causing trouble. Could be corner. Yes.
It's only second one though.
It's okay. It could be a spurt of corners. Yeah. That's what we need. So Lewandowski is their only threat for pretty much, and it's almost like you like your World War II and World War I history. It's almost like if you can cut off the supply line in the middle, where he can't get the ball.
Yeah.
Right? It's like they're dead.
And he's not a player that's going to deke 2-3 guys and score. He's a guy that's going to run into the box and hope for the ball.
Right.
Kind of Ronaldo-esque.
Yep. Hope for the ball or hope for like the point to the spot, penalty kick, right? All right, let's see this corner kick. Oh, is there another corner? Another corner? Yes. Yes, another corner. Yeah.
I think Poland, they're kind of lucky. Chesney's been playing so good. Their goalie. Yeah. I think he really kept them in the tournament. He saved 2 penalty shots already.
Yes. He's been on fire. On fire, but you can't rely on your goalkeeper. He's
probably been their best player,
right? And that can only go so far, right? So we have this game. Sorry, I'm going to ask you to keep going on your bets. What stands out to you? I know that you just basically bash Poland.
To be honest, I haven't looked that far forward. I'm kind of focusing on what's happening today. The accounts are a little bit low, so I got to survive today before I can think about tomorrow.
Okay, then maybe I'll tell you what I have, and maybe that'll trigger some thought. So right now, looking at the Poland France matchup, I think France is minus 12. Minus 1,200 to advance. I think that's no surprise. Poland plus 760. I almost feel like if I was to pick 2 games, I would have more faith that Australia had more of a shot to advance than Poland. I don't know why I think that way, but I think there's more value there versus Poland. Put money on that. But however, I do like the over. A 2.5 surprise. Kyle likes the over. Minus 116 because I like the way France is pressing. And I don't think they're satisfied with even 2 goals. And they'll keep coming, right? And that's what I like. And especially Mbappe, which actually is plus 100 to be a goal scorer. I think there's huge value there. He's the main guy. He is hungry for goal. He is like I can't see. I don't know why he's plus 100. I thought that would have been at least a minus 130. He's going to get his opportunities, and he is. You got to. Oh, is that a corner too? No, it's going to be out to the. No, it didn't get out. Okay. Anywho, focus. I find that they'll even keep him in the game so that he can chase the golden boot. Like I don't see him coming off. That's
Poland
why
is an older team, slower team.
Yep.
It's almost too perfect for him to score.
Right. And then, even though we kind of trashed Poland a little bit, and we talked about how Lewandowski may not even see the ball, but the odds are, just like it happened in the Mexico game, if there is a opportunity for a goal and or a penalty kick taker, it's going to be him. So I feel that sprinkling a little bit on the plus 400 for him to get a goal, I don't love it, but I think there's there's value in there because if Poland is going to score, the high value there is that he's going to be the guy scoring or taking the penalty kick.
And France has given up a goal in every game they played so far.
Right.
And you know what? It didn't look good for Switzerland in the last Euros, but they ended up scoring 2 goals against France. So, like, anything can happen. You know what I mean? Like, you're looking at it and you think, oh, France going to win.
Yep.
But you never know. You just never know in soccer. It's just it's about matchups, about luck, it's about timing, about strategy as well, player personnel. There's so many factors. But I do like France to win this game, but I don't think they make it past the quarterfinals, excuse me.
Interesting.
Against England. I think England will take them out.
Ooh. Well, we'll talk about England in a second here, but what I thought was interesting, and I really didn't look at this in any other the matchups, and we just talked about players not being able to score in the penalty kicks. As an example, France and Poland. So France to miss a penalty is plus 1,200. Poland to miss a penalty is 3,300. Did anything draw you into potentially taking that bet? Maybe not this game, but that bet on any of the games now that you've seen the trend?
It's such a long shot bet, though. They have to get a penalty and then they have to miss it. So you need 2 things to happen there. I definitely wouldn't take it for Poland. I don't know if they're going to get enough offensive pressure on France to get a penalty shot.
Okay.
Maybe it's worth it for France. Griezmann will be the guy taking it. And I feel like he's pretty good at penalty shots. I don't think I've ever seen him miss.
I like the way he's played. I like the way he's played this term. He's been more of a play maker, distributor.
Yeah, he's been staying back a little bit more. I think because Conte is not in the lineup, and they need somebody to kind of win the balls back. He's been playing okay. He hasn't scored yet.
No.
He's had one disallowed, but he's been okay. He just, I don't know. It's a different role for him, I think.
Yep, absolutely. And I know your boy Giroud. I know you're cheering him on. Okay. So this game, France, Poland. No other thoughts. We'll move on to the other Sunday matchup, and that is a very popular matchup, and that's England taking on Senegal. England is a minus 550 to advance, while Senegal is a whopping 2370 plus 2370 plus 370 to advance. My plus sign and my handwriting sucks. Anything here standing out to you as far as I know it's all the way tomorrow and you haven't looked that far. Anything standing out to you?
I just want to say that this side of the bracket is the tougher side for sure. You have Spain, you have Spain, France, England, and Portugal, and then you throw in Switzerland, just kind of a
dark horse
team in there. But this is a very tough bracket, and I'm afraid one of these teams might drop the ball here and look ahead, too far ahead to see the other matchups. Senegal is the best team in Africa. I think they won the African Cup this year, so they are a good team, even without Mane.
Yep.
England haven't really impressed. I could see the upset happening here.
But are you going to put money on it? That's the telltale sign. You like that 370 enough. Plus
England is like the Maple Leafs of the soccer world. They're the choke team. They always do good and then they falter. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. I don't know if I can predict the upset, but I don't feel comfortable taking England in that game.
So maybe something you may not bet, but not something you would like.
I think I'll take Senegal team shots or something like that. Take a chance on that.
Okay. So I know that for myself, I'm looking at this game. I like. I'm looking at a same game parlay for this one that I find there's value. So the makeup of the bet is going to be the game to have over a goal and a half, at least 2 goals. I don't know if England's going to be, like they were in game 1, blowing the team out, or it's going to be a 1-1 Senegal. I could see scoring. Why not, right? And England feels the pressure. Because that's pressure, right? Like, think about a team. Like, you talked about Germany, but is there another team that has as much pressure on their back for every second or minute that's going by in a game on how things are going than England does?
The pressure is definitely building. I don't know about England. They played amazing the first game against Iran, but then the next 2 are kind of mediocre. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. They're so inconsistent. Harry Kane hasn't scored a goal yet.
Right.
They're relying on Rashford now.
If Rashford doesn't start, do you fire Southgate right away? Like, is that overcoaching? You got to go with the hot hand, right?
Yeah, exactly. Rashford's scoring. I would never put Sterling on. I think Sterling should never leave the bench. but you have too many players to choose from. I think that's the problem with England. There's too many guys to look at and choose from, and then maybe you overthink it.
Yeah.
Where you don't have this clear like starting lineup every game.
I can't disagree with that. That's absolutely bang on. So my same game parlay looks at the over goal and a half. I'm gonna say that there's gonna be a goal in the first half, even though we just talked about how bad of a bet that was. I'm gonna say that there's gonna be a goal in the first half in this game, and also that England advances, and that puts me in the plus money. So I think there's good value there. 2 goals, 1 goal in the first half, and England advances. I have my doubts like you do that England at some point here is going to choke. I mean, I don't know if you agree, but England even getting to the Euro final, they were up 1-0, and I felt there was a bit of choking going on, whether it be during the penalty kicks and whether it be just giving up that lead, and how they could have really made a difference in the first half against Italy, but Italy just found a way to win. I don't know, did you find even though they got to the final, there was a bit of a choke job there for them?
Yeah, a little bit. I forgot who they played in the semifinals, but I remember.
I thought it was Germany. I thought they had. Was it Germany or no? It was Germany in the quarterfinals or something. But I can't recall.
I know it was Italy and Spain.
Yeah.
Went to a penalty shootout. I think it was England and I can't remember.
If we only have the technology to check this out, but that's okay. But I like the value there. But also another value bet. Again, this is a small wager. This is not, unload your bank account in my opinion on it, but. I talked about this offline with you, is that Harry Kane has not really produced from a goal scoring standpoint. I know playmaking has been involved.
And he was the favorite to win the Golden Boot.
Goal favorite.
He has 0 goals.
So if him at plus 550 to have 2 or more goals in this game, I think there's, look at this. There's something to it. US. No, nothing. Just toying with my emotions that they're going to actually put another shot on target. Anywho, there's McKinney. There you go. There's your boy.
But looking forward, I'm really hoping France and England win because they'll meet up in the quarterfinals. That's a huge game. That's what you want to see, right?
Yes. As much as you want to see upsets in the knockout stage, when you really want the matchups like in England, France.
You want Spain, Portugal on the other
correct.
side.
That's what you want. I mean, that's what we want. Let's not kid ourselves here.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything on? I'm just going through the Bet365. Do you see England? I know you were skeptical on England on this one, but do you still see them with the majority of possession, like significantly? Do you see them pressing with a lot of corners? Even though that you're not sold that they're a lock, do you still see them being mostly dominant in this game?
I do, but I just have a feeling inside of me that Harry Kane's going to mess it up.
Yeah, another corner. Yeah, you have a feeling Harry Kane's going to mess it up.
He's due for something like a card, a yellow card, red card, penalty shot, something like that. He's due. He's played 3 games and nothing's happened yet. So I feel like he's due for a big error.
Wow, so it's not a big performance. You think something like where his reputation is going to kind of take a nosedive?
Yeah, if you watch him play for Man U, it's happening every game where he does something.
Oh, you mean Tottenham? So
We're
you
talking
said
about
Harry Kane, right?
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about Harry Maguire. I'm so sorry. Oh, my fault. I was talking about Harry Maguire.
That's controversial. Okay,
Yeah.
let's think
One
of
of the
that.
Harrys.
Okay, the Harrys, not Harry the Prince, like the Harry. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking about Harry
Maguire.
Maguire. Yeah, I feel like he's due for a fuck up.
You know what? You could be right because he's kind of been under the radar a little bit, and they are relying on him heavily out there.
Yeah.
And I thought this tournament he could probably save face, maybe be a hero, but you're right. Like there could be a red card. There could be a handball in the box. There could be some sort of foul.
This is a chance to be Harry Maguire, the one that we know.
Yes, but you think it's going? You're going negative. You're going to negative land.
Yeah, the pressure's mounting. I feel like he's a little bit too slow.
Yeah.
He slow thinker, slow reactor. Like he doesn't react quick enough. I think he's going to trip somebody in the box. I don't know why. I just have this feeling inside me.
Or he's going to bear hug somebody in the box.
He's going to try to tackle somebody. It's going to be clumsy. He's going to just totally annihilate them. And
what made him so effective? Because when he was at Leicester City, when they won they won the English Premier League, he was a focal point. He was a standout. Like he would always be the guy jumping in with that header.
Yeah, he was the anchor.
And he was an anchor, solid. What's happened to his game? Like why has it not worked out to the level at Man U that it did at Leicester City?
Maybe it's a chemistry thing. Maybe it's a confidence thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain. Maybe it's just between his ears. Maybe he's just so afraid of making mistakes that it's just happening. Where it's like when you're playing golf and you're trying not to hit it in the water. Their next shot's going straight in the water.
Right.
Maybe it's one of those. I don't know. I don't think I've never thought of him as a really good center back.
Mm-hmm.
I think Leicester City that season they were magic. It's just they had
right.
team chemistry and everything was working for them. And I think Man U's just a bunch of pieces put together and none of it really works and he's being exposed.
That's true. So Harry Maguire is a plus 350 to be booked.
I would take that in a heartbeat. I would definitely take that. He's good for a card at least every other game.
Got it. Okay, so that's value there. Plus 350. You could bank. You're going to put some money on that one, it sounds like.
I can see the headline next day. Harry Maguire screws everything up. He's kicked out of England.
Or Harry Maguire, World Cup hero.
He scores a hat trick.
But no, Harry Maguire, World Cup hero, but we really meant Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that was a bad pass.
So this is like kind of, as we're watching. Oh, yeah, corner. Oh, no. Damn it. The spin on the ball could have went the other way, and we need a corner here. So just for those that maybe joining late or whatever, we're just, and it's not live. Obviously, you probably listen from start to finish, but we're watching the U.S.-Netherlands game. Netherlands up 1-0 at the moment, and we got several wagers on there, including corners, so we're just reacting to what we're seeing as we're doing the podcast. So, all right, England, Senegal, and we move on to Monday. Some interesting matchups here. So we had a difference of opinion on Croatia. Japan takes on Croatia. Japan is a plus 150 to qualify, and Croatia is minus 184. So it's a little tighter here. Japan has had a great showing. They've been very energetic. They've been very pumped. The crowd is going nuts when these guys play. They're exciting to watch. Big wins over Germany and Spain. Loss against Costa Rica, which does not make sense, and it tells you maybe how tight every team is towards each other. But off the top, I know I have a same game parlay. I'm just writing my notes here. Again, guess what? I like the over Japan and Croatia because I feel. Here's how I look at this game. I look at this game could be a 0-0 up until actually it could be, but if Japan gets on the board right away, then I think there's going to be an explosion of goals. If Croatia has to open it up and Japan goes back and forth, I think right off the bat I'd be hammering the over 3.5 if Japan opens it up within the first 20 minutes. That's how I look at this game. There's a shot that Japan could do it, so I'm going to lean on the over of 2.5. I think it's plus 126. I think. What's the over under in this game? So the over under.
I just want to bet.
Goals. Over under plus 130. I like that. Oh, USA got another shot on target?
Who's that?
Yes.
McKennie?
I don't know. Hold on, is it McKennie?
No.
Let's see the shot. Look at this. He drilled this pretty good too.
Oh, it's I just won that bet.
Oh. And it's not even, he can push it out to a corner too. Like, come on, man. Okay.
Timothy Weah, shot on target, plus 175.
Whoa, you bet that one?
Yeah,
and you got the win.
Yeah.
So you're like blowing your nose with 20s right now. No?
Okay.
All right, so plus 130 for Japan, Croatia to go over. I like the over just because of that fact that I think Japan, as soon as if they open the scoring, then I think it's going to be a free-for-all. That's what stands out to me in this game. That's my take on it. Anything that stands out to you on, I know you're not so high on Croatia right now.
I just want to preface this by saying that I'm always wrong about games like this where, like, I don't know, you have two teams that you're not quite sure about. I feel like I always pick the wrong thing.
Right.
I'm leaning under in this game.
I
feel like Japan, even though they scored 2 goals against Germany and they scored 2 goals against Spain, it was a little bit lucky the way they scored with the ball almost going out of play and then them saving it and getting that close chance. I feel like Croatia's going to control the game. I don't see 3 goals in this game.
Okay. Just to let you know, we don't like unders in this podcast.
Yeah.
I just want to point
Croatia's
that out.
got 2 scoreless games already.
Okay.
And this is the knockout round now, so I think they're going to be extra tight. I don't see more than 2 goals in this game.
Okay. Well, I don't like your picks, and we're going to move on. Anything else that stands out to you? Any players that you feel are going to have a big game, or maybe a Harry Maguire type failure game? Modric has kind of been quiet, but
I think I'm just going to turn my phone off for this game. I have no feel for this game. I don't know. Japan's riding high. Croatia, they have 4 goals in one game, no goals in the other 2 games.
Okay.
I don't know what they're going to bring.
All right. If you think that's the way it's going to play out, then here's an interesting matchup on Monday as well. And we didn't know this matchup until, and I didn't really have a chance to even look at this matchup because it's so new. And that's Brazil taking on South Korea. And South Korea, obviously, to qualify, like what is Brazil to qualify here? Brazil is to qualify
Minus $1 million.
Minus $1 million. So Brazil, where is it? Result match Brazil. Okay, we'll come back to that because again, this is a fresh matchup, so I didn't have it written down. So anything that stands out is Brazil walk over South Korea, or maybe the way Brazil's playing, and I'm gonna compare it to like a Canelo fight, or a Mayweather fight. I feel confident that Canelo or Mayweather's gonna win. Oh, it's 2-0.
Daily blend.
Oh, blend. Even a blind squirrel can find
Wow.
that. Wow, there we go. 2-0. And it's 2-0 for the Dutch.
So it's 4 shots on target now.
4 shots on target for the Dutch. The Dutch are happy.
Pick that one guy to wrap his legs around.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever done that in your life?
It's not a romance novel.
I know.
Man.
I would never
I don't get
run
it.
and jump into another guy's arms and wrap my legs around
Wrap your
them.
legs around? No, it's just... yeah.
High five.
High five.
High
Just
five's
give
the way
a
to go.
fist pump.
Maybe
That's your
handshake.
fist. Yeah. It's just, Brazil, South Korea. Again, sorry, my analogy was a Canelo, Mayweather. You feel confident they're going to win the fight, but you feel it's going to go to a decision. Like they're going to win on points, and they're going to win heavily on points. I don't know if the loss yesterday against Cameroon, which was kind of a boring game to be honest, really changes your outlook on this game. But I see Brazil advancing, and I want to stay away from Brazil because I don't. They're not providing me any flashy or traditional Brazil skill that I'm seeing out there. So what do you think about this game?
Well, Brazil's still the tournament favorite, but I don't know if they're as deadly as you would think they would be.
Yeah.
They're getting tons of chances, but they don't look as dangerous as I expected. Yesterday they lost, but they had their B lineup in. They didn't play their regulars. Neymar's out. I'm not sure if he's back for this game.
Right.
I think it's going to be a walkover here. I think Brazil's going to kill them. I think it's going to be a volume of chances, and they're just going to be able to score 2 or 3.
Okay, so do you like the over/under? Would you stay away from that? Does Brazil really light them up? Do you like plus over 3.5 at plus 220? Does South Korea even get on the board?
I don't think so. I think this was going to be like a 3-0, 4-0 type game.
Do you think that?
No,
really?
Brazil's getting a lot of chances. They are
Yeah, they are.
generating a lot of chances. They're just not finishing.
They're not finishing at
and
all.
eventually, at some point, they are going to finish.
Right. Okay.
This might be the game.
Yeah. I mean, do you see? Because you had Montanelli. Am I saying that name right?
Martinelli.
Martinelli.
Yeah.
Sorry. And Jesus in the game yesterday. Martinelli. He generates a lot of chances.
Yeah, he does.
Right? Do you think he's starting in this game though?
No, I don't think so. I think
Okay.
they go back to the lineup that's been winning. They didn't score a goal yesterday, even though they got all those chances. I think Richarlison starts.
Yeah.
And who else do they have up there?
Well, they got
Vinicius Jr.
Yeah,
Those
you
are the 2 picks I would make as well.
Let me throw out some names to you because, even though Neymar, we don't know if he's playing for sure. We're looking at goal scorers during the game. So Neymar is a plus 120 to score anytime, plus 333 for first or last goal. You have Pedro, who's a plus 137 to score at any time for Brazil. Jose Jr. Plus 187 for Brazil.
He's due for a goal, I think. He's got a chance. He's got a lot of chances. He's had 1 goal disallowed. I think he gets one.
And you got Richarlison, like you talked about, Mr. Scissor Kick, plus 187 to score as well. So it's obviously Brazil all over the board here. So you really think this is it for Son and his run in the South Korean team? Like, how impressed are you with him? Like, are you? I know you're probably a fan of him already with Tottenham, but has he impressed you and enhanced his outlook in your eyes based on the way he's played in this tournament?
I think Son is a lot like Davies on Canada. I feel like they're just the one clear standout player on the team that has so much talent. They're so good they can play anywhere.
Yep.
I really like Son. He's a left and right foot shot. He's quick. He's a good player. He's not selfish. He passes the ball when he needs to. He set up that goal yesterday.
Yep.
He's a good player. He's a perfect team player.
He is. He is.
Just I think that South Korea lacks the talent to keep up with Brazil. I think defensively they're going to get exposed.
Okay. Yeah. Like I'd probably take what you said as far as Brazil kind of maybe not missing as many chances and not taking any chances at all. I think that maybe that Cameroon loss, even though they didn't need it per se, but there was a very, very, very small risk that they could have lost the division or the group lead. But I don't think there was a real threat there. But I think it's got to put in their mind that they need to finish. And I think 3 goals is not out of the question. I think all 3 goals are probably going to come from the Brazil side. I think it's their time to open things up. Okay.
I agree, 100%. Okay. I think that Brazil is a good team still. they're not giving up a lot of chances either. Like, I know Cameroon scored, but that was at the very end of the game. I just think Brazil is going to just have the ball, and they're going to keep the ball, they're going to work it around, and they're going to get 20 chances to score.
And you have the bracket in front of you there, and we talked briefly about kind of future matches. Where do you see them stumbling, like as they advance? I mean, they got the winner of Japan Croatia, which maybe is not a big deal, but like, where do you see them stumbling, if they stumble at all?
When I look at that side of the bracket,
Yeah.
I think they're on a collision course with Argentina. I think they take out South Korea tomorrow. When is it, tomorrow or Monday?
Yeah.
And
Monday.
I think that they'll handle Japan or Croatia, whoever it may be. I know Croatia, they made it to the World Cup, the World Cup final the last time, but I think they're just on the decline. I'm not impressed by Croatia. If you take out the game against Canada, where Canada kind of was all over the place, they haven't impressed. They should have lost to Belgium, and they tied Morocco. So I don't think Croatia has enough offensive talent. Like, I know they're a good team and they're talented, but I feel like they're older and slower, and they're a very bad matchup. Brazil's a very bad matchup for them. So I think Brazil and Argentina are going to make it to the semifinals, and I'm not predicting a winner in that game.
And these are obviously teams that know each other very well. I mean, they play each other a million times. Friendlies and World Cup qualifying.
The Copa America final was Brazil Argentina. Argentina scored that one goal and they won, but they got outplayed. So that can go either way. I do think Brazil Argentina semifinals is what we're going to see.
That'd be an awesome matchup. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to see like a Brazil or an Argentina against a team that's a Cinderella team that is going to eventually get blown out. Let's see that matchup. That'd be awesome. All right, we're going to Tuesday, final day before we get to the next round. A couple of intriguing matchups. Guess what, Morocco? You won your group, and now suddenly you got to play Spain, who couldn't win their group. So, I mean, this might be a short-lived celebration for Morocco, or do you think is this inevitable that Spain's going to advance here? I mean, what's your first take on this matchup?
You know what? I gotta say, like, these teams that are supposed to be the top teams, they haven't really impressed me. Not one of them has impressed me.
Mm-hmm.
If you take out the game that Spain played against Costa Rica, they've been average after that. They tied Germany in a game they probably should have lost. Germany, I think, had 2 disallowed goals in that game. They lost to South Korea, and now they're playing Morocco. So you expect Spain to win, but I don't feel confident in that pick. I don't know.
Well, Spain's a minus 400 to qualify. Morocco's a plus 300 to qualify. And again, they're the group winner of the group, and they get Spain, which is not so lucky. I see Spain advancing. I just see the way Spain plays with ball possession, and like sneaking, guys into the box and scoring. I think they pull it out. Would I be shocked if Morocco somehow qualified? I don't know if there's a shock anymore.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. I think that these bottom teams are right there. They're competing and they can score and they can win.
Yeah, and like I love my overs obviously, but I feel hesitant to see that plus 120. Like, I just want to jump at it of 2.5, but I could see this being a 1-0, 2-0 kind of game, unless again, like the Japan game, Morocco is the team that scores first, so that could be an interesting matchup. Do you see a lot of cards in this game?
Yeah. I do.
Okay.
I do see a lot of cards. 2 guys that get cards a lot on Spain are Busquets and Rodri. Alba gets a lot of cards. Yeah, I definitely can see. I hope the line's at 3.5. I'm not sure what the line is, but if it's at 3.5, I'm definitely gonna make a play on that.
Well, because this game's on Tuesday, like I'm looking at the line right now, the cards are not even up there yet. Like, corners are not up there, so this game's a little. At least I can see. I'm looking at the Morocco Spain on Bet365. Goals are up there, half is up there, specials are up there, but those bets, like the cards and the corners, are not displayed at the moment. So that'll be more closer to game time.
So
unless
Kyle,
you're seeing something.
I don't think you've made a pick who's going to win the World Cup this year. I think you're playing it safe this time around. I don't know.
Well,
I'll tell you
what.
The winner?
We'll circle back to see what the odds are to win the World Cup, and then I'll make my picks.
Okay.
Because I don't want you stealing my picks and making money and
I feel like you're putting your cards a little close to the vest.
Yeah,
and then,
starting your own podcast.
Yeah.
But Morocco, Spain, Tuesday. We'll see what happens there. And then Portugal, Switzerland. Your boy Ronaldo takes on the Swiss, the neutral Swiss. Portugal, and I know you had stated this, and maybe you're not ready to crown them as your odds-on favorite, but you're not putting out of the possibility that Portugal might be World Cup champions.
You know what? Portugal, I know they have Ronaldo, but they're not overly reliant on Ronaldo.
Right.
The goals are coming from everywhere else. Ronaldo only has one goal, and that was a penalty shot, and they're still winning. That's scary. Bernardo Silva hasn't really stepped up yet, but they're a team that I feel like they're a tough matchup against anybody. They're one of those stubborn teams that they're. It's hard to beat them. And then you have Ronaldo in there who can get a win for you if he gets that goal, like that goal that the team really needs.
Yeah.
I think Portugal's a team that they don't need Ronaldo as much as they used to, and that's what makes them scary.
It's true, and like we talked about earlier, he's been substituted off, because they feel they have the depth to close out games. The only bet that stands out to me in this game is it's not out of the realm that Switzerland scores here. It's not like Portugal has not given up goals. So plus 130 for the over 2.5, where Portugal continues to press and they're trying to feed the Ronaldos of the world. I like that bet. I like a few goals scored in this game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you see a 2-1. I'm not sure which way that's going to go, but I could definitely see a 2-1. Maybe I don't think 3-0. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. 2-1 is a scoreline that I think is going to happen, and I think there's going to be a lot of cards in that game there.
Okay. So let's look at, we've gone through the knockout stage so far. Right now as we stand at halftime in the Dutch-USA game, it's 2-0 Netherlands, which is surprising that we actually had 2 goals already. You got to feel, how do you feel the second half will go in this game? Will the Dutch try to lock it down? Is it going to be, are they still going to press? Like, where do you see things going in the second half?
Well, USA has their back against the wall. They're going to have to press. I think this might be one of those games that you might see 2 or 3 goals in the second half.
So we should get the live betting going right now?
Let's see what the line
Let's
is.
go live. What do you got on there?
And even cards.
This is what we love about the sport right here.
Yeah, I think the live and play, whoever came up with that concept, it adds so much. You remember back in the day, they just had the line, and when after the game started, that's it. You had to sit there and watch, and that was it. If you missed the line, missed the line before the game started, you were screwed.
Oh, and then you're just sitting there watching a game for 3 hours, picking your nose, like you have no interest in what's going on. Okay, what do you got there for live and play for this game? What's standing? I'm
Number
looking
of
at
cards
FanDuel.
at 1.5. It's juicy though, minus 163.
What? 1.5? Because there's nothing right now.
There's no cards yet.
Why wouldn't
And it
there
hasn't
be a
been too
card?
physical, but this is like the knockout round here.
Yeah, plus like the U.S. has nothing to. There's no tomorrow, right? Like there's no tomorrow. I like that bet. Huge. Let's look at that right now. Cards. Let's go corners and cards. I have it on FanDuel. Minus 170. You have it over 1.5?
It's at 1.5 minus 163, so it's pretty juicy at this point. But
So 3 cards. You see
one
3
red card and
cards.
you're a winner.
Okay, what about 3 cards? Plus 195 on FanDuel. What do you got at Bet365 for 3 cards?
Oh, I don't see that line there.
You don't see 2.5 cards?
I have 1.5.
That's
the line
it?
is different. Yeah, 1.5. So you need 2 cards for a win, but it's pretty juicy.
Would you say there could be 3 cards in the second half? You don't like it?
I don't know. I don't think that these two teams are dirty teams.
The
There
Dutch.
hasn't been anything going on that would suggest that.
All right.
There could be 0 cards in this game.
What about 3.5 goals? So it's 2-0 now. You said you like the goal barrage. I'm probably going to take the over because you're right. They're desperate and they're going to score. Man, I don't know. Like the Dutch and U.S., I got to stick to my original thought that like they're stingy and they might go with the stingy. I'm not gonna touch it right now.
Yeah, maybe lay off if you don't got a good feel for it.
Yeah, like just before we get to the
Maybe the total shots over 21.5 might be a good play.
That could be a play.
There's 8 right now. You need another 14.
The Dutch. I just want to keep saying that. The Dutch.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so now we're going to the odds-on remaining for the podcast to talk about who's going to win this World Cup. Now, Brazil is a plus 220 as your top dog to win this World Cup. Argentina comes in tied with France at plus 500 as the second favorites. Spain at 650. England 850. Portugal at 1200. And then you get into the other teams that I think are not, like, I wouldn't put in the necessary contention. What do you mean? Like, there's only 3 corners in the Dutch USA game? I thought there was more than that. I thought there was like 4.
Somebody miscounted?
Yeah, what's going on here? Can we get a
recount?
Yeah, recount on this. What the hell's going on? Oh, that's disheartening. I'm not happy about that whatsoever.
So value for World Cup winner, I think you're looking at Portugal plus 1,200.
Yeah.
I don't see too much value in Brazil at plus 220. I would never touch that. It's very low. There's no point in even taking that. You're better off just taking them to win each matchup they're in. Argentina plus 500, that's a little bit low for me too.
Okay.
The team that lost to Saudi Arabia. I don't know if you could take it at this point.
Well, if you had to pick one, what would you take?
If I had to pick one team, I would take Portugal at plus 1,200. I feel like there's more value in that than Brazil at plus 220.
Yeah, so if you look at these bets, you got to pick who do you think's going to win. I know the values at Portugal going to 12. Out of the 6 teams we talked about, there'd be nothing wrong with taking the plus 1,200 with Portugal. But honestly, the team I think is going to win.
Road. That's the only thing about Portugal.
Yep.
They have to go through Switzerland.
Yep.
Then they have to meet the winner of Spain, Morocco.
Yep.
And then they'll have to meet the winner of the France, England. Well, assuming France and England make it there, one of France or England to make it to the finals. So that's a hard road.
I think France is your World Cup champion again. I think France is. I know they have injury issues. I know that. I just think they look the more dominant of any team. I know we talked about it. There's not really one team that's standing out as ahead of everybody. And you could argue Brazil in the first 2 games were dominant. They didn't allow a shot on target. I think France is the team that's going to wind up with the back-to-back World Cups because I think they have the right mentality and the game changers that can do it. That's my thought.
Can you imagine a Brazil-France final?
Oh, that'd be great. But I think France squeaks it out. France plus 500 is my play. You wanted to play. That's exactly the play.
France is your play. Okay.
Is the Golden Boot still live right now or
yeah,
no?
You can still take it.
Where is it on the site? Can you find this? Where is the Golden Boot? I was looking for it right here, but I couldn't see it outright. Let's see. Teams. Boost. I'm not seeing it. I do not see it. Okay. Anywho.
Are they taking it down? Maybe during the games they take it down?
That probably makes sense. All right. So that being said, we've gone through an hour and a half of chatter about the World Cup.
Really? Wow.
First of all, I just want to know how's the status of your 30 bets going? Have you been successful in your League One matchups so far?
I'm actually pretty even right now. I might be up a couple dollars or down a couple dollars, but it's been even Steven so far today.
Even Steven. I wonder who this is.
Which is always okay. I don't mind that.
Okay.
You can't win all the time. It's better off just to break even. You've enjoyed the game, you know what I mean? And you don't feel bad afterwards.
Okay.
Which is the worst part.
That is the worst part.
So what do you think about Canada's performance in the World Cup? How do you feel about that? They didn't get a point. They competed. I know a lot of people that I know predicted they would make it out of the group, which is...
I think that's wishing to...
Yeah, wishing something happens.
I think we talked about earlier about all these other programs, the African programs, the Asian programs. I think they have more of a history of being on the bigger stage. And I think Canada, just like Qatar, excuse me, is not there yet. I think they needed to taste. What I liked is they got the goal out of the way, so they don't have to worry about that for 4 years, that they need to score a goal. I would have loved if they got a point or a win against Morocco in that last game to kind of eliminate. I think the expectations were high, and they played well obviously against Belgium. I think they're the better team against Belgium. But at the end of the day, it just showed that they got a ways to go. Jonathan David didn't perform at all.
He was a no-show.
He was a no-show.
Yeah.
Davies looks solid. I mean, he can only do what he can do with one guy.
Thank God for Davies.
Thank God for Davies. But I think going into, obviously, probably one of the hosts for 4 years from now into the World Cup, I think it's reasonable to expect that they need to build a team, especially in a 48-team tournament, that's now going to advance. That's the goal, right? I don't mind. They were never going to get past France or Brazil or whatever. So let's be realistic.
Yeah.
So I like where things are going. I don't know if Herdman's going to be back. It sounded like for some reason after the group stage there was a little bit of is the second half already started?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we'll get off this podcast and watch the game. But it seemed like his rose was kind of dropped a little bit. It's weird. What do you think about him?
You know what? When he said F Croatia, I think that was a huge mistake.
Huge mistake.
You don't need to provide more motivation to a team that made it to the World Cup finals. It's almost like you made it harder for your team to win that game. You know what I mean? He didn't need to do that. I don't know if he was trying to deflect attention off Davies missing that penalty shot against Belgium. I don't know if that's what his intentions were. I read that somewhere that's what he was trying to do, but I don't think that was a good strategy for him. I think that when the coach is the guy in the headlines, it's never a good thing.
Yeah, and I didn't understand, and you obviously have it. Oh, that was
a shot on target.
Is it counted shot on target?
Yeah, he hit it. Okay. Goalie saved it.
No goal. It was the defender. It wasn't even the goalie. Oh, you think the earlier shot?
Hit the goalie. Yeah, I think it hit him in the chest.
Okay, but do you think because one of the controversies with Davies took that penalty kick, and the thought was, we'll let the players decide. Do you think as a coach you should be letting the players decide on the pitch, or should that come that we already have a game plan that we know what the hierarchy is, who's going to take that penalty kick?
I think you should have an established penalty shot taker.
Yep.
And if for whatever reason they don't want to take it, I think they can just defer the ball to wherever they want to take it. But I think when you have a situation where any player on the team can step up and take it, then you have guys like Neymar wrestling the ball from other players. I don't think that's a good thing either. I think you need to have your main guy, the guy who's best at taking the penalty shots, take it. And if he doesn't want it or if he's hurt, then he just gives the ball to whoever.
Yep.
But I think you do need to establish who's taking the shot before it happens.
I agree with you 100%.
Oh, I just want another bet.
Which some no-name English
McKenny.
Small town of...
No, it was McKenny shot on target.
Okay. The U.S. has 3 shots on target now, so I got my win there for that bet. Okay, we're wrapping up here on the special, but it's been a hell of a ride for the World Cup, and I think what we'll do is maybe circle back maybe at the end of the World Cup and look forward maybe on some more of the... Maybe we'll try to continue the domestic leagues and Champions Leagues and all those sort of things. I think there's great value, and I want to dig deeper into more of what you find as value into these second divisions and third divisions, because I know your play doesn't stop at English League One. We're talking about Dutch and German Bundesliga level 6 and all that stuff, and you find there's value. And I think the fans out there want to talk about it. So, any lasting thoughts on the World Cup or any betting learnings that we should take away?
Overall, I think the World Cup this year, I don't know if it's just me, but it's a little bit underwhelming. We haven't seen the goals, the amazing goals this year. I feel like every goal is from like 5 yards away from the box. Yep. But the upsets galore. I can't believe it. I'm very hesitant to take these favorites now because I feel like these underdog teams have caught up so much. I don't think there's been 1-3-0 or 4-0 scoreline this whole World Cup. Every game seems close. And every team is in the game.
Yeah.
So it's been a weird World Cup. I feel like it's been a hard one to cap.
Yeah, it is.
Too many upsets, too much, too many question marks, and you lose confidence when that starts happening. You know what I mean?
You have no idea what's going on.
When you think this one team, they're going to do this or that, and then the complete opposite happens. And that happened for me with Germany and Mexico. They're the 2 teams I picked to hit their team totals, and they didn't come anywhere close.
Not even close. Not even close. Just
not even close. So if anything, I would say my takeaway would be to fade my picks.
Okay, that's a great takeaway after an hour and a half.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. We're gonna finish off this game, watch and see how it plays out, and see if we get some winners. So everybody out there, thanks for joining the World Cup special number 2. Over and out. Have a great day.